What's up guys, it's Satan, and today we're going to go through how Kanye West's Power was made. Let's get into the video. We have a very exciting video for you guys today because we are joined by three-time Grammy Award-winning producer and one of the producers of this song, S1. S1, thanks for joining us.
Man, pleasure having me, man.
First question, what was your experience like in producing the song Power?
Oh, it was an amazing experience, man. How I came about working on Power, it was just basically through a friend of mine by the name of Fest. You know, working with him, send me some beats. I'm out here with Kanye, and if I get the opportunity, I'll try to play him some beats. So I sent him some beats over, and about a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks later, he was able to play Kanye some beats. Kanye told him, yo, get him out here right now. I'm about to change his life. So that was a text I got from Fest, like, yo, get to the airport. Kanye said he's about to change your life. And Kanye plays me the first version of Power. And I'm sitting in the room, I'm listening to Power, and I'm just, the whole time I'm thinking like, yo, how did I get here? How did I end up in this room? I stayed out there and just helped him work on the song, helped him work on the album. And that's how it all came about.
How did the studio sessions in Hawaii with Ye, Mike Dean, and Jeff Bhasker change the way that you produce music yourself?
Great question. So around that time, I was working on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy out there with them. And I noticed how Ye and Mike Dean and even Jeff Bhasker, they wouldn't do a session if it didn't have a Juno 106 in the room or if it didn't have a Moog in the room. Okay. So I always told myself at that moment, whenever I'm able to afford it, those are going to be my first pieces of gear. Okay. Because I was able to see how those synths, how they added so much body to the record. A
lot of your work on this song was on the drums. So my question would be, what's your biggest piece of advice for improving your drums?
A couple of things I like to do. I always like to add some type of grit. So I'll use like Decapitator, or I'll use Isotope makes a dope plugin called Trash. And I'll just add like little distortion and different harmonics to the drums.
You've got a masterclass coming out on March 25th, Project Impact. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Project Impact is going to be dope. We created this curriculum, this 6-week curriculum for producers. Basically, I'm the instructor of this curriculum. And man, I just really dial in. This 6 weeks is going to be amazing because I dial into everything that I've learned over the last 15, 20 years being in the music industry, from sampling and how I process my samples and sound designing. And there's a drum programming workshop. There's a industry placement workshop where I get into like mindset and creating daily routines. And it's a pretty extensive 6-week program for producers to really elevate their career to the next level.
S1, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
All right, have a good one, bro.
Thanks to S1 for joining this video today. Go check out his masterclass Project Impact in the description below. Let's jump into the remake. Like many Kanye West songs, Power samples a bunch of different songs. We're gonna go through each one of those songs with you today. Power samples this song called Afro America by Continent and 6. In the original version of Power, they re-recorded that sample, but the original sample is so close to Power that we're going to be using that sample today. So there will be some slight differences between that sample and the original version of Power, but it's going to sound very similar. So let's bring that into the project, and it's going to sound like this at first. Then, as you can see, we're bringing up the pitch by 2.5 semitones, or 250 cents. Ooh, okay. Then we're going to be removing that clap sample. So we're going to bring that onto the mixer, and we're going to be adding unmixed drums. And that's a plugin that removes the drum audio from samples. Then we are also adding some reverb. So it's going to sound like this. So let's record that in. Then we're going to loop that over itself because it plays throughout the entire song. We're adding in this clap sample. And like many Kanye West songs, it's not going to be in time. So as you can see, we're going to none, and we're going to bring this out by 2 little none intervals. Boom, boom. That way it's just playing slightly off time. Next up, we have the siren sample. Then let's add in the guitar. Nice. The exact guitar we're using is the Ample Bass P guitar. Ample Sound guitars are probably the highest quality guitar VST you can get without actually playing a real guitar yourself. Also, I don't know how to play the guitar, so this works perfectly for me. That's it for the intro. Now we're coming into the chorus. We have the second sample, which comes from a song called It's Your Thing by Cold Grits. It's the first part of the sample. We're taking that drum break and we're chopping it up. So it's going to sound like this. Playing with that, we have a second kick sample that's coming in, just to back up the original kick for some more bass. Let's record that in too. Then we have this sort of weird choppy hey vox, and that plays throughout the entire song as well. Record that in. Finally, to wrap up the drums, we have the 808. So let's record that in. Control Q to quantize, Control L to make it play until it stops needing to play. Then we want the 808s to cut out when the snare comes in, so we're going to bring these notes back to when the snare sample hits, which is right here. Going to go into the audio clip and turn on envelope, bringing the sus up to 100%. So this is going to make the 808 notes cut off when the note stops playing. So it's going to sound like this. Cut. This instrumental is so lush and complex, so we have a bunch of different subtle instruments coming in. Next one is the guitar. We're using the Ample Guitar SC, which is built off a Fender Stratocaster, and Mike Dean played on the Stratocaster in the original song, as he's confirmed online in blog posts. Yes, I was going through blog posts before I remade this song. So in the song, then we have the bass guitar, which is playing some power chords. One other thing to note, and Mike Dean does this in a lot of his songs, is if we have multiple instruments playing, he'll have them panned so that they're giving room to each other. So for example, the bass guitar, as you can see, that's been panned to the left, whereas the lead guitar, you can see that's been panned to the right. Then we have this bassy synth coming in from Sylenth. It was originally made on a Moog synth, but if we're remaking a synthesizer using VSTs, Sylenth is one of the best places to go just because you have so many options. So let's record in this pattern. Then on this preset, as you can hear, it's pretty bassy. We're going to be using parametric EQ2 to give room to the 808. So this is before, and this is after. And that's the same thing we're doing with the guitar. Once again, giving room over here. Then we're sampling one more song. This is 21st Century Schizoid Man by King Crimson. We're sampling 2 different points. The first one is around 50 seconds. Then we're moving forward to 58 seconds. It's going to sound like this. Then towards the outro, it gets a little bit choppy. So you can see what we've done here is we've added the clap back in, and we're also just playing the first part of each of these instruments. So all together. Then we're adding in this really nice piano melody. And And that piano sounds incredibly similar to the original song. You can find this preset in Contact. It's the giant piano. Then we have some synths coming in. Like Mike Dean also confirmed in an online blog, he recorded these synths onto a Juno 106. And while I don't have a Juno in my room, there is a software version of the Juno available. It's the June 6V. So we have two different patterns playing. First one is some chords. Then we're layering it with a lead. So together they're going to sound like this. Okay, cool. It's getting very exciting. Then we're also layering in some strings. We're going into Session Strings Pro 2 in Contact, and we're going to be playing a similar melody on the cello. Then we have duplicated this preset, and we have changed the articulation to playing in staccato. So now it's going to sound like this. Then we have one final preset coming in from the Juno. This is the Afterglow pad, and we've brought down the release, and that's just going to sound like this. And that's just adding a bit more atmosphere to the sound. So many of you guys commented on the last video loving the Shazam comparison, so feel free to do it yourself, but we'll see if it works today. So altogether, this is the final result. That's it for the remake. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.